A lot of autistic people around the world have a shared experience that we have had negative things happen to us in school or in the workplace, in those closed social environments. It could be anything from bullying to harassment to mocking to underhand jokes, and even to some degree mate crime. Well, today we're going to be watching a video from Shane Squirrel Shack. Autism and being taken advantage of. This guy looks like a cool character.
Hello everybody, welcome back. Hello everybody, welcome back to Shane Squirrel Shack, where today we talk about autism awareness and all of that. And as always, want to thank you for tuning in to today's video. So I want to talk about something that I know other autistics struggle with regularly, and that is, having a hard time being able to tell sarcasm or being, someone being a douche to you, and when someone's when someone's being a friend or asking for a favor versus someone taking advantage of you. So that's always...
That's the whole thing of mate crime, isn't it? Where people fake friendship in order to take advantage of you for a multitude of different reasons, one of them potentially being as a source of fun, which a lot of people would characterize as bullying. Epic background. I'm loving it. I'm loving the aesthetic.
It's been something that I've always had a hard time with. Even lately, even to this day, it's really hard for me to distinguish, hey, when someone being sarcastic with you and when can you bounce back and kind of have that kind of fun,
No worries, Dr. H.
interaction versus when someone's actually being an asshole. And the other situations is, when, having a hard time telling when someone's a friend or someone taking advantage of you. So I want to share a few stories today and kind of what I've been, what I have tried to do to be able to
it's called mate crime. Weasel. It's quite a common thing that a lot of disabled and autistic people can experience. Why do others weirdly judge others who are just different? I think a lot of people, are drawn to novel things that they don't see often or don't experience often, and that's kind of a natural human reaction to a certain degree, but I don't particularly have a problem with that because it's the same thing when we were talking about cringe and creepiness and stuff. It's not really something that you can control. Human beings just make judgments on things to a certain degree, but it's your behavior after the fact which dictate whether it's a bad or good thing that you're doing. You can't help the feelings that you get just there.
Distinguish the difference between those two. So where do I start? I'm going to start back to when those first instances happened back in college. I noticed when you get a car, you are a target for a lot of people. That's what I have learned. And I remember, I'll share this with you. I remember going to college, going away to college and meeting people. I was on the track team for a second. And so I met a couple girls on the track team. And, the one girl was kind of, mean and all that, and I'll get to that in a second. But, after I started talking to them for a bit, the one girl, would ask me for rides. Hey, can you drive me here? Can you drive me here? And, I thought, I didn't know that she was taking it.
A prime example of mate crime here. Albeit maybe a small one, but...
advantage of me. And her friend was along for the rides too, They were always hanging out at the time, and even after some time, her friend admitted that, hey, she was taking advantage of you. But before that realization, it got to the point where they convinced me to let them borrow my car for a day. And I wasn't even invited to where they were going. I'm like, what the heck, man? So that happened. So I was like, I thought I had friends for a little bit, but really the one especially was taking advantage of me. So... you're going to notice something in a second that as time goes on with these stories, it's natural to build a distrust towards people or this negative perception that
This is a really good video that you suggested, Figgy. I appreciate it because it's talking exactly about the things that I speak on. We often do have this negative sort of bias towards people that builds up over time because of these bad actors, in a sense, It really sucks. It's really sad to hear about it as well, Yeah, good point, Floof. Reminds you of Ooperville. I'm not really. I don't really know much about Umperville. You like him immediately? I think he's great.
Like, everyone's trying to take advantage of you. No one's out there, seeing the good in you and trying to be good back, kind of thing. So, another thing is I used to have this friend, and I met him back in high school, and we didn't start hanging out until college. Things were fine at first, but then unfortunately, his character, declined, and then it got to the point where he was asking me for rides everywhere. It got to the point where I would drive him, be his DD, he would get completely wrecked, and then I'd have to drive him back. Then I'd have to take care of his mess-ups. I'd have to, be a mom, essentially. And I didn't get anything back. He would ask me for rides, this and that, never give me gas money. He would always take my weed, all of that kind of stuff. Never pay me back. Just stuff like that. And,
I really feel, because I've had similar experience like that. It's getting me in the feels, this video, for sure. It's really, really relatable. Really, really open of Shane as well. I really appreciate it.
You think, hey, they're going to pay me back. They're going to return the favor because we're friends, right? No. Over time, I found out he was taking advantage of me, and I had a really good friend who noticed him. He's like, dude, yeah, he is. And so, as someone who learns from trial and error, throughout more of those experiences, I started to learn, hey, what's going on here? So I got to the point where, it became too much on his end, way too much liability on his end. I mean, taking care of him the one time, we almost had to take him to this guy to the hospital because he was blackout drunk, didn't eat anything that day. I'm speeding home to get him a meal with him in the back seat. I get a fucking ticket, excuse my French, and he never offers to pay for part of it. I'm like, what? Like, dude, I'm making sure I don't have to take you to the hospital and, give you all these charges. So I'm going back to make sure I could put a meal in your belly, and I get pulled over for that. So then again, going 22 over and at 55 is not something I recommend. So, guilty, flawed there, will admit, let's move on. Okay, so, yeah. And so, I'm going to tell you a recent story that I'm, working on now. So, at my new job, I met someone who, we bounced off each other, decently at first. So I was like, okay, he's a friend. But then he started asking for rides. I'm like, okay, wait a second here. And I know he doesn't have a car, but we're in the mid-20s. Come on now. I get if you live in Chicago and you walk everywhere, that's fine, but not around here. But then he started asking for rides. And then he started asking me to do favors for him because he was banned in X and Y places. And I was supposed to drive him. He was like, dude, you're driving me to go meet this girl, right? For me to get with this girl, right? I'm like, no. Or, oh, you're driving us to the strip club tonight, right? So he would assume that I would give him rides because for the first few times I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's when people start to assume it and then don't do anything, and there's no reciprocity or no attempt to make any degree of reciprocity, or being or highlighting the fact that that person's done a lot for them and appreciating it and such. There's a lack of all of that it takes you off to tips you off to the potential that someone is taking advantage of you, I guess. It's not good.
Yeah, I got you, because I let people in too easily. I shouldn't say that. That's what my mind likes to think when I'm taken advantage of like that, or I'm kind of done dirty that way. And so that's that. And lately I've been trying to figure out, this is my current, this is a current situation where I'm like, okay. And this guy, he doesn't get the hints. I'm like, dude, just leave me alone. Yeah, you need to back off. And I'm working on how to do that. It's very hard for me to sometimes be, confrontational that way. So.
Say, try the next time that someone like that asks you for something. Try saying no. You don't have to do it in a horrible way, but just say no. Just say that I just don't want to. I've got something on tonight, and see how they react. Do they treat you differently? If you stop doing things for them, do they start treating you differently? Do they start not spending as much time around you? A fawning response. Scooby Kitty Doo. I'm gonna give you the fact study person label I don't know what that would be. In a 2015 study, 80% of autistic people reported they have been taken advantage of by someone they considered to be a friend. Doesn't surprise me at all.
That's something I'm currently going through, but we'll keep you posted on that as time goes along. But anyways, the sarcasm part, or someone being an ass. So I remember a couple jobs ago, my manager, he would always, try and be sarcastic and have fun with me, but I was at a different place in life where I was, almost scared of my own shadow, so I couldn't trust anybody. Because I was still hanging out with some of those toxic people who try to take advantage of me, or was just kind of being assholes to me. So I couldn't tell who was being what. So I guarded myself and blocked a lot of potential relationships based off of the couple bad ones that I didn't know how to remove myself from. And it takes time. It takes self-advocacy. And I remember the last time he told me, he was like, hey, you're giving us a ride to this, right? I just flat out, I didn't even think about it. I was just like, no. And this was in the middle of our shift, in the middle of the floor. He's like, no. I'm like, excuse me. I'm like, no. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, you heard me. I got other stuff going on. I'm not driving you and a couple coworkers to a strip club. Miss me with that. I'd rather be on my bike. Ride my bike around the city at middle of the night, right? Screw that stuff, right? Anyways, but then the other day, we're putting stuff away with the truck. And a part of me couldn't tell at first if he was being sarcastic or an asshole. And so he's talking about, he's flexing on, oh, I got this girl, but her friends are wanting me too. I'm joking because, I don't really give a crap about this. I'm like, hey, send them my way, LOL, right? And he's like, yeah, I don't really see anything bad in you except that, a negative is that you're hyperactive. I'm like, what? So that messed with me a little bit. I thought he was being fun at first, and then I stepped out of work after the moment. I'm like, oh shit, that hurt, And so, what do I do to be able to distinguish those things is it's experience. It's, listening to other people, asking other people that maybe about them, and like, hey, do I have a hunch about this person? Like at work, I'm like, hey, do I have a hunch about this person that they try and take advantage of this or do that and that? And so it's really helped when you open up, and access other resources that, mutually know the people that, you're dealing with. And at least with me, when I was really anxious the last couple of weeks because I didn't know how to read his behaviors and his intentions. But when I started talking to other people, it made sense. And I was like, whew. So it's all about, effective communication, and it's something hard for us autistics is
setting boundaries early on and standing by them, and looking for social reciprocity and potential relationships.
Sometimes, we have a social skills deficiency, I like to call it. So,
it's the irony
I just
there, isn't it?
Saying that can, get a couple people to be more of an advocate for themselves who struggle in the past. I'm not perfect with it either, but all I want to do is get on this camera and say, hey, you got this. And doing this right now.
Who is this guy and why is he not more popular? I don't understand. I don't understand the online space. It's like this video has 1.2k views, which might be a lot for their channel size, but do people just not want to listen to something so raw and honest and authentic? I don't understand why it's not more this kind of video. When I was younger, if I'd come across this kind of video, it would change my entire perspective in life. It's just so, god damn it.
For me, I got this. So, yeah.
Channel name, Shane Squirrel's Shack. Let me put it in the chat for you.
For motivating. And
trying to hold back some tears. Today. It's too much.
Thank you for tuning in as always.
Got me as
and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.
God damn it. What can I say? Just very honest, open, authentic, extremely relatable, and comparable to my own experiences. And thank you very much, Shane. If you see this pop up in your thingy about someone using your content elsewhere, thank you. You make more. Talk about it. Have your level of openness and authenticity and insight is great. I love it. It's awesome. We need more people like you for sure. This one got personal for all of us. Yeah, 100%. So please make sure to check out Shane's channel in the description. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to him, give him some comments. Maybe it might convince them to come back and try the YouTube again. I'm not sure if they're still making videos at the moment. Let me have a look. No, last video was about 8 months ago, and yeah, I think this person needs a lot more eyes on it. Very, very great videos, all of it. But yeah, if you enjoyed this, make sure like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and consider checking out my original content channel. You can see all my videos. I make about 2 a week, usually on some quite out of the box, not really talked about things. So if you're wanting to learn a bit more about autism from my autistic lived experience, then that is a place to do it. And if not, I'll see you in the next one.
Right, boys, we've got to build a giant monocle for Sauron. He can't see beyond a certain meter radius because he's nearsighted. We need to get him some prescription lenses.